It's Dr. Tennant's Verbal Highs. Let's start the show with Lewis Tennant. Here we go. Guests and interviews that you're looking for with creators, innovators, and so much more. For all episodes and further info, verbalhighs.com is the place to go.
Welcome to Dr. Tennant's Verbal Highs, a podcast podcasted from Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, New Zealand. My name's Lewis. If you're new here, hi. I'm the host of the show. Yep. How are you? Yep. Where are you? What are you doing? Yeah. What are you wearing? Nice. I've been listening to, did I say this is episode 96? This is episode 96, coming on up. But yeah, I do listen to a, perhaps, clinically unhealthy number of podcasts. That's fine. That gives me a good sense of the podcast zeitgeist, the environment, the universe. And one I've been listening to via, doing the Googling, the 20 best or best of 2021 or whatever shows is called Wind of Change. And it posits, I'm only on episode 2, it posits that the CIA were behind, a very broad term, behind the smash global power ballad hit by the Scorpions, The Winds of Change. Now, I'm of two minds about this show because I have a feeling it's one of those ones, if I keep going, even though it's on a best of list, it's not really going to have a payoff. It's kind of not grabbing me as much as I thought the concept would, so we'll see how we go with that. But the reason I bring it up is actually more because that's a whistle airworm, man. So if anything comes from it, I need to somehow scrub from my brain, ideally in the next day, hopefully not within over a week or two, because I don't know how that will pan out psychologically. I don't know if whistling is like eating on a microphone, so I hope that was okay. It did make me think of how does the beginning of it go? The other great power ballad whistle, rock whistle. I can remember part of it. I think it's I think I'm whistling the melody now. That was a terrible rendition. If you know what that is, drop me a line. I'll remember how the beginning goes as soon as I leave this microphone and venture forth for the day. So my guest today is John Paul Moss, as I say. He runs a festival called Aum. I've not been. It's a New Year's festival. It runs for 3 days. The imagery and video footage of said festival on the Facebook page, and I think probably on the own website as well, is quite stunning. Really paints an appealing picture of said festival. How did this guy come to me if I've not been there? Via a former guest who has DJ'd there and I think does some other work for them behind the scenes, Rob Warner. Thank you, Rob. Rob, kia ora. So I kind of went in cold in terms of knowing a lot, but I do. You might know from other episodes if you listened before, like when I spoke to Amanda Wright, formerly of Splore. I do have a sort of a fascination with the machinations of putting on something like festivals, because they're sort of incredible environments when they're done well, put on for human enjoyment. But the kind of temporary nature of them, how well they function to keep said humans kind of like happy and healthy, I think is quite an amazing undertaking. Like, I first started kind of looking at them like that, I think, properly with Big Day Outs, just that sort of like that scale of happening and that scale of people over a day, I find quite wondrous. Festival memories, shivers. I was thinking about it. I think the earliest memory of a festival, well before I started going to festivals regularly, I was at a festival called Brown Trout. And it was in 1983, and I was 6 years old. And the reason I remember it is because I had a brown trout badge for years, here's a bit of resentment coming out. My badge collection disappeared from my childhood. had a bloody brown trout badge. I had a Stop the Tour 1981 badge that my grandfather didn't think was appropriate for me to wear, that my mum did. Anyway, but I do actually have memories of that festival. I didn't know where it was. Thanks to Google, I found out it was in Dannevirke. It's amazing how the internet can like kind of hone your memories, because I have memories of going away with my mum's friend Carmel and her kids, who are my dear friends Katrina and Jemima, when we were kids. Many years hanging out with those guys. And we also took a holiday down south to Picton Nelson one summer around that time. So I had those smooshed together, but apparently it was in Dannevirke, just out of Wellington. And amazingly, one of my memories is sliding down on our sleeping bags a grass verge into the area where the stage was, or a stage. I don't know how many stages there were. And also a pleasant hippie gentleman kind of dancing with us and stuff, you know. Not in a sketchy way, you know. I think even at 6 you have your sketchy radar. He was just, you know, a lovely man with a big beard and colourful pants. So I look on the internet just really quickly before I jumped on the mic, and someone mentioned in the comments about the wee amphitheatre where the stage was. So how's that, a memory from 1983 and 6 years old? But I just remember we had a great time. Then another early memory would be 10 years later, coming into formative years. I went to one of the mountain rocks. I reckon it would be either 93 or 94. And I went with, somehow we tied up with a Christian surfing group. Like I never quite bought the Jesus. I never bought the Jesus thing. If Jesus is jam, great. But they were great people. You know, a lot of kids from our area went on things like that. So from the surfing trip, somehow, I wish I could remember his name. He was really cool. He took me to Mountain Rock and Super Groove were on, kind of in the height of their super grooviness in the afternoon. I distinctly remember that when we got there. And they were fantastic. I reckon I was 7th form or first year at uni at a stretch. I remember a terrifying, watching someone go through the terrifying ordeal of being pushed over in a portaloo with the door landing down. I also remember, related to that there was a leery element and there was still a kind of like danger element to festivals with people that disappeared not long after. For better. You can't say for better or for worse with that one. And I also remember, back in the days of cash, so many drunk bogans around that young Lewis, always onto an urn when he can spot one, noticed a note, a $20 note or a $10 note or whatever it was, in the mud near the bar. And then I think for the next however long the festival was, I just kept finding them, and no one else had spotted that you could pull out notes from the mud near the bar. And I remember coming home with quite the wallet full of muddy notes. Now, I had planned in this intro to go through a few more memories up until now, but this will drag on too long if I do. So we'll stop with the muddy notes of Mountain Rock. But there was a big day out. There's been Splore. I've worked on them. I've done stage management for Northern Bass. I've managed the circus for La Di Da. I've played at the Gathering. It was bloody awesome. And I played at Rhythm and Alps, which I talked about in a previous episode. And I've been to the Rhythm and Vine site, but only for a birthday, which is where I met Elmo, who was the man who got me on for Rhythm and Alps. So there's a bunch of completely self-indulgent festival stories. Festivals are great, okay? Like the show, verbalhighs.com, Facebook, Twitter. You can't actually like it on the website URL. You can leave a comment there. Feel free to do that below episodes. It's good to have interaction. My Facebook is Verbal Highs Podcast. My Twitter is Verbal Highs. Please like, comment and share. Like, comment and share. Like, comment and share. That's how I grow an audience. That is the koha buzz for listening to this episode. Buzz down in Gorky Park.
Verbal high straight down from up above.
Red button on. We postponed yesterday because of supposed thunderstorms, brimstone and hail.
Yep.
And when you said, yeah, great, I've got to go to the site, I've got to tie something down, I thought, knowing Auckland, it'll be totally fine in 10 minutes, which it pretty much was.
Yeah.
But anyway, reason I open with that is weather must be a one of the greatest unknowns as an outdoor event
Challenge.
planner. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, a challenge. And we had, when we first took on the new site, well, it's not new now, the South Head site. It wasn't where we did the first OM Festival. That was in Raglan. But when we did the first one at South Head, we were taught very, very quickly about weather. We were hit with a cyclone on day 2.
Oh, wow.
We decided, actually Anna, my partner, decided it'd be a great idea to do the first New Year's festival there, a 5-day festival.
Yeah.
Day 2, a friend of mine walks up and says, "So what are you going to do about the cyclone?" Just arrived on cyclone. I'm like, what cyclone? I've been looking at every weather channel, everything for no, seriously, everything in the world. I paid for a Ken Ring weather assessment, you know what I mean? It was just I was thoroughly on top of this. It was going to be fine. A little bit of a sprinkle on the 31st. So that little sprinkle came down, and it came down, and it came down, and it came down. It wiped out our road. It destroyed Northern Base. It killed bloody Rhythm and Vines.
Yeah.
And we had to tow out 400 cars, and every single person was completely happy. We had no complaints. They had to stay 2 extra days.
So it happened early on in the festival, but everyone stayed on the whole time.
Well, no, we didn't have any choice. We couldn't get people off. Yeah. So what the difference with us? I mean, with it affected different festivals in different ways.
So what do you mean it completely wiped out Northern Base and Rhythm and Vines? The Rhythm and Vines rather. They couldn't go ahead.
No, they had people there, but they shut it down and got people off site.
Right.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Where are we now? 2000 and so that was our sixth time last year, which was 2000, so 2014.
And then you get an insight into your punters as well, which we'll chat about with your festival and the kind of following you've built up. But I always find it funny, with social media, some people just don't get it right. I don't know what happened, but I'd imagine there would have been people whinging that they didn't get their full Rhythm and Vines experience. Some people just don't get that weather's it's out of our hands, man.
Yeah, people had. I can't actually remember the specific circumstances with other festivals, of course, and I don't tend to pay much attention to other people whinging about other things. But I did notice with us, everybody was sweet ass, man. They were so patient. It was incredible. Yeah, it blew our minds. Actually, we were just how invested and staying cool everybody was. When really it was a nightmare. Yeah. That's normal. People do get on and like to have a bit of a chat about how they feel about stuff, but that's kind of a human thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And am I right that weather is probably it's the one thing you can least control out of all your planning, right?
Well, that and people, yeah.
What do you mean there? What have you learned?
Well, what have I learned? I'm constantly learning. Constantly learning. It's, look, everything I've done in entertainment personally I put on my first dance party in August 1991, the first rave. And
here in Auckland?
No, that was in National Park, actually. Yeah. I'd just come back from London and went back down there and put on a big rave. But I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I do it the same way for the same reason, and I have the same vibe at every event I have. I don't know why, but I have it that way, and it's one based around communication. That is what is important. So communicating with people is key to how I work. Yeah. And also getting an understanding of I'm not the boss of you, I'm asking you to come and spend your good hard-earned money to come and put on my entertainment that I made up. Yeah. Consequently, I'm also asking you to behave, but that's based on my terms, and it's not always the way that people like to be treated, I've noticed. I don't know about you, but being told what to do just doesn't quite work for me, So the learning has got me to the point whereas, for example, with the festival, people ask, why don't you sell alcohol? Yeah. It's can you make a lot of money out of it? Sure, yeah, loads of money out of it. And it's very simple. It's because it changes people's behaviours. But
also, I reckon, and I'm sure I'm probably preaching to the choir here, the perception of an event with alcohol, I think, changes potentially who will engage and go to the festival, but also crucially who'll go, oh nah, F that, I'm not going to go. So if it's anything like the gathering, there's booze there, people have a few quiet vodkas or whatever, but it's a different expectation to this thing has a bar or doesn't have a bar, and that will make my decision as to whether I go.
Yeah, changes the vibe. I mean, we're more than happy for people to bring their own alcohol.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And some people say, "Oh, people must get like absolutely wasted." And I said, we had more people on site last year than any other festival we've done. We had zero, like literally not one security incident, not one.
Yeah.
People can bring as much booze as they bloody well like.
Yeah.
But people behave differently when they're not being told what to do, forced into a situation, into a model that's designed to pour piss down their throat.
You just made me realise something else that's come with health and safety that isn't ideal when there is booze there. And I know why they do it, but even that being herded around in those zigzaggy, you nodded straight away. You got it. Herded around in those stupid zigzaggy metal,
like cattle.
Yeah, like cattle. Yeah, and you get your one little thing and you spill half of it on the way back, and then So there's a freedom there with not bothering with all that malarkey.
Yeah. So it's freedom of choice. And I want to do this or I don't want to do that, and I really don't want you to influence it. And also, there's the other side of it, which is potentially a younger mentality that comes around. Like, if I'm going to have to stand in queue for 20 minutes. Well, I better get the maximum number of whatever it is that I can get, smash that back as hard as I can, and then because I'm just going to have to go back, I don't want to do it again. So it creates also a loading drinking situation. So people load or they preload as best they can. And then they smash back as much as they can in the list. And what happens is, well, we all know what happens there, don't we?
It's funny, like we won't dwell on this topic too much, but it's funny how it's almost like our antipathy and attitudes to drinking even flow through in our regulatory attitudes to how to control it. And what I'm meaning there is, like when I was in Europe properly for the first time end of last year, and you can get a beer at 10 a.m. and drink it on the streets. Surprisingly, people aren't falling all over themselves. Like, it's weird. It's like we so over-police it that it almost has this forbidden fruit aspect where we can't handle it properly. Yeah.
What's the shiny green apple? I don't have the shiny green apple. I want the shiny green apple. I want it now.
So 1991, you come back from the UK. I always ask guests, it's interesting hearing where people came from, man. So where did you grow up?
Okay.
Who else is in you? How many brothers and sisters? What's the family setup when you grew up?
Well, when I was born actually in Manchester in Hyde, in England. But my family, my immediate family, mum, dad, brother and sister, came over to, my brother didn't exist at that point, came over to New Zealand when I was like 2.5. So I classify myself as a Kiwi, and I did my secondary schooling back in the UK. Yeah.
And you went back?
Yeah, did that, and I've been back there since as an adult, and I've that's where I came up with the dance party thing, and but essentially I spent most of my life here. I've done a lot of travelling, 29 countries or something like that, and got around a bit. I love this place. This is such a treat. That's such a privilege.
New Zealand, particularly in 2020 and 2021, right?
Oh my God, Oh my God.
So what kind of kid were you at school?
If only he'd applied himself a bit more, that kid, you probably know a few of them ones. Yeah. Still the same personality, bit of a scallywag.
What indicated that you didn't apply yourself as well as you could have?
Well, everybody in my life telling me I bloody well should.
Maybe that's the schooling that you engaged in. I don't know.
Yeah, brain the size of a planet, but didn't give a shit.
Yeah. No, the reason I asked that is because mine was like, I probably had a little bit of that, but there's different types of it. Like mine was like kind of poor impulse control, like kind of like being the class clown, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, totally, mate. Yeah.
Oh, you're the same.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Only because I wasn't applying myself enough. I don't know. Yeah. I had other stuff going on in my world.
We probably would have been diagnosed with some pharmaceutical to calm kids down,
Oh, absolutely.
Sort of like the rich tapestry of being human is now, it's now diagnosed into different categories.
Oh, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, yeah. Please categorise me. Oh, my God.
So you're in the UK, you do your schooling, and then I assume you came back here for a while, and then you can't really call it an OE if you'd actually lived there a significant amount of time. You find yourself back in the UK sometime before 1991. Yep. Now, a lot of us know the history of that time period. What did you find there that led to...
Well, I mean, I was running a ski lodge in National Park called the Ski House. It's still there, actually.
Yeah. So you ski?
I did before I did not have a knee left anymore.
Yeah. Audio only points to knee brace.
Yeah. So my partner at the time, Jackie, and I, God rest her soul, went back to the UK via Thailand, Nepal, and India. And so I was already running a lodge with a bar and we had bands and a restaurant and all sorts of stuff. And I went back over there, and it was the end of the summer of love.
Yeah.
Went to spend a fair amount of time in London, and especially at a place called the Labyrinth, which was in Islington, and cut my teeth on some pretty awesome hardcore jungleism and drum and bass and what have you, and heavy hardcore actually was about a bit, and saw some of the greatest DJs and stuff that are still around nowadays doing their thing, and sampling the local fare, shall we say.
Yeah.
Doves, I think they were called. And I came back to New Zealand about a year later, going on about my experience with a handful of records.
Great.
Yeah.
And did it change your musical taste at the time? Like, you're already into kind of like some kind of dance music? Like, some people just go, whoa, this is a completely new lane. Did you go from like being a rock guy to...
No. I mean, I was already into different stuff. I mean, but slightly different versions of it. I mean, what really caught my ear with electronically was, first of all, I'm just can't think right now, the Prodigy and Yellow, actually, a band called Yellow, which aren't around much anymore, but amazing.
Prodigy, like... I had that first album, the Prodigy experience, like the one that's kind of before a lot of people really cottoned on to the Prodigy. And so I saw them live just in that there was a gap there. Not a gap, but there was a period there just before that second album really blew up, where it was a scenario where I got to see the level of showmanship they do now, but in a venue. It was actually in Melbourne, but when a band's at that size, or an artist at that size, where they do somewhere at kind of power station size.
Yeah.
So it was like Melbourne version of that, slightly bigger, but still like this fucking basically incredible stadium level show in a tiny intimate venue with a whole lot of sound. They're actually still, that's one of the best live shows I've ever seen.
Wow.
Extraordinary. And so with starting something like a New Year's festival, does it come from years of doing smaller events? Like I said to
how did I get there?
Yeah, I said to Amanda, like, I've always marvelled, like, even when I used to go to big day outs, I've always marvelled at, like, just the logistics of putting something on so temporary, but so thought out,
Yeah.
So what's the road been to that?
Well, it's quite a long and deliberate road, actually. Pretty much everything that I've undertaken in events for the last 15 years has been very deliberate, and I've planned it years and sometimes decades in advance. There's more to come, and it's quite specific based on what I need to achieve personally, what I need to find within the people around me, and what the goals are, and what we're trying to actually achieve. So the path literally it starts off with me. This is what I do now. I put on music and we dance and it's all jolly good fun. And then comes in the ego, and it's just like, well, this is how I think it should be. And of course, it's completely like just totally ego-based. My perspective on how people should treat each other within the industry, which I believe is very, very important to society and community as a whole, which is what actually the foundations of what I do is. It's just grown from there, and it's.
So, what are those principles?
Well, the core part of well, put it this way, I believe very sincerely that entertainment, or the gatherings of whatever type we have, are critical to our species. It is a time where we walk out of the survival mode of life, and we put down some of our inhibitions, and we open ourselves up to different experiences, to learning, to growing, to mating, to everything that goes on when we're not just trying to survive. We are open and growing and learning and evolving. So kind of trying to reverse what unbridled capitalist society's done to us. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Yeah, it's real important to me, and I find when you're putting on entertainment, especially if you incorporate things like substances such as alcohol, for example, was one of them. or even just the environment where there's a level of something capturing your imagination. It could be lights or sound or music or whatever. People become vulnerable. And my personal choice is to respect that vulnerability rather than to capitalise on it, which is kind of what happens mostly. It's about, okay, I've got these vulnerable people here. How can I take as much as I can from them?
How can I turn it into a full-on economic model? Or,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I do it the opposite way, and which is arguably fucking stupid. I don't want to. It's like, it's not the easiest way to make money, but it's actually what I do and why. And I'm very, very blessed that I have peers and people around me that agree with it. And also with that, a hell of a lot of experience and grunt and being able to actually make something viable financially and sustainable, whilst also achieving those goals of just respecting people in a vulnerable situation, and sharing the best of the things together, and not focusing on the stuff that doesn't matter. Making money and stuff doesn't matter. It's not. It's not important. It's just what we see to be as important.
You're saying there's like a plan moving forward that's still not executed.
Well, this is it. So part of it is also so there's that aspect of it. That's just the core. That's the foundation. So creating places that are safe and conducive with healthy communication is if you ever speak to anybody who's been to any of my events, whether it be Velvet 20 years ago or Om today, they will generally say the same thing, and that is that, oh wow, I met so many people and we talked. I actually met people, and people were actually interested to listen to me and learn about me, and it's just something there, right?
Yeah.
So the other part of it is I really want to work with the people that I love and I'm impressed by within my circles and my friends, basically, which is also stupid. But
why do you say that? Why is that stupid?
Oh, well,
actually, they do say that hiring kind of friends and family is a... Yeah,
it's a no-brainer, mate. It's like your mates are your mates, So with that comes a whole set of different rules on how you should and shouldn't interact and work together or behave together, right? And you're talking about the entertainment industry, all right? We're not talking about a bunch of corporate lawyers or accountants here. This is the entertainment industry. This is the Muppet Show, right? Okay, and I want to work with my friends because they're so, and that's far and wide, and they're so talented and so beautiful and so amazing to me. And also so completely mental, just like myself.
God, that is the Muppet Show.
Oh, it is, and this is what I mean. You say people come out
Kermit
from Om or whatever, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's so beautiful and safe and friendly and clean and well organised." And I was like, "Have you seen who bloody puts this shit on? Are you actually paying attention here?"
The logo for New Year's Eve's Fozzie Fur, isn't it?
No, that was last year.
That's last year. That's Fozzie Fur, isn't it?
Fozzie Bear.
Are you as much of a Muppets fan as I am?
The theme, because I couldn't use the word Muppets, of course, because Disney might not like that. But that was the theme last year. We theme it differently every year.
Yeah.
And last year it was how the yellow furry animal that was Fozzie Bear.
Yeah.
And we called it Manamana or Manamanom actually. Because of you've got to watch out for copyright. I like to dance on the edge of the copyright.
Yeah.
It absolutely was, without any question, me just saying like this, the Muppets. It's actually, well, we're just a whole bunch of Muppets in my mind, and it's a term of endearment to me.
Totally. I know, because there's the British, like when people list cars and say no Muppets. But when I looked at it, I was like, this guy is actually a Muppet guy. I could tell from all the treatment and stuff that you obviously were a fan when you were a kid growing up with the Muppets.
Hard out. I mean, I'm not alone there either as well. I mean, Anna, my partner, will argue. She's like, no, that was her idea, but, I can't really tell anymore. All I know is that I'm just doing what we do. And that's a pretty apt description of all the people around me. Colourful, interesting, crazy, artistic, wonderful, absolutely batshit bonkers.
Yeah. Chickens for chickens, lots of chickens for girlfriends.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what's going on anymore. It's just, but it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
And working with that work, as soon as I said that, I was like, "What does he mean working with friends?" And then I flashed back to a few times, like when you recommend a friend or whatever. I go, "Oh," like amongst the things you've learned, like how do you be a sort of I don't say a boss, but someone running the show and actually like not kind of like fall out with a bunch of friends along the way.
Very, very a lot of luck involved in that.
Yeah.
Just by just maintaining your integrity.
Yeah.
Really, it's just like actually and sticking to your guns. I mean, certainly not everybody can stay the course in events. It's not for the faint-hearted.
No.
It's hardcore.
Oh yeah.
So not everybody can do what they potentially thought they could do, or what I thought they could do, or anybody else thought they could do. So it's a matter of just finding those things out and just staying in the love, basically.
So New Year's is the main Om New Year's festival. That's the biggest undertaking so far, right? So walk us through that. Like, what I'm meaning there is, like, the first one you put on, like, even finding a site. Like, how did you look around for a site? What were you looking for in a site?
We already had a site. We found a site in Raglan, and we did our first festival there, Om Festival there.
What did that even involve? Like, how did you find that?
Came through a friend or a young person that had come to a couple of our parties and said, I've got this, my family, my father and I have got this piece of land in Raglan, and hey, we'd love you to come down and do a party there. And Anna and I thought, well, let's go and have a look at it. And we went down and met the family and a beautiful piece of land.
So I'm building this from the ground up.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? What does a site need to have?
Well, I'll put it this way. I had to build a road and toilets and things like that, which I'd never done before in my life, just to accommodate what we needed. I mean, so, I mean, as far as putting on events, by that stage, I'm already 25 years deep in experience. I know what's included in the basic event makeup, and I'd already done other festivals and events with other businesses. So I had a fair idea what's required. I mean, from the basic infrastructure of sustaining people on site. So you've got, obviously, shelter, food, water, ablutions, etc., and obviously being able to move around is very, very important. So I knew what was required in that respect, and we just threw it all together and far out, just about bloody destroyed it. It was awesome.
What did the dad think? The parents think? They
loved it.
Yeah, great.
They loved it.
So they were on site and got into it, came along?
Oh, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think that particular piece of land now is, I think the family's kind of...
Apartments, no good.
No. Worse than that. I think the family's basically fallen apart. And, yeah, which is a shame, but it had nothing to do with us, thank God. But no, Dave and the crew, they loved it. And anyway, we this was March of 2004.
Yeah.
And... we had no intention of doing a New Year's festival, none at all.
Yeah.
Now, I've previously to Om been working with some friends on a party called Twisted Planet, which is on the site where Om is now.
Yeah.
And one day, Paulie came up to me and said, "Hey, we're actually done. We don't want to do it anymore. You can take the land." And
what is it, farmland or?
It's 400 hectares of deer farm.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's stunning piece of land.
Yeah.
And it has animals running through it when we've got the festival on. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is.
And another landowner who's into it?
Oh yeah. By this stage I'd already established a relationship because of the Twisted Planet with the owners of the land.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing that for a few years. And then when we were offered the land, it was just like, there's no way in hell we're going to let that slip up because it would be gone in seconds. It's like, it's 45 minutes from Auckland.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, we're putting on a New Year's festival now. And away we went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many years ago was that? 6?
6 year.
Yeah.
This is our 7th year this year.
And the first one, like how was it? How did it go? How did you come out of it?
Oh, it was amazing. And broken to pieces.
Yeah.
We were fucking smashed. Like ruined physically and mentally and emotionally.
No, totally.
Drained. But came out of it going, okay, well, if we can cope with that. And also, we have to keep going because now we're like starting to, get some significant debt rolling up there.
Yeah.
This is the underside of putting on large festivals and things that most people are just completely unaware of. There's a thing that happens which is called going broke.
Yeah.
Before it goes the other way around, and
that's right. Sustainability. It's like, and also, I was thinking, before you came on over, thinking about what to chat to you about. Like, you're also in a time period where, I don't know if I've got this exactly right, but it feels like there's more festivals in New Zealand than than there's ever been before, you know. It's like...
especially right now. I mean, it's just doubled again. It's like it just keeps doubling. And most of them, you've got to remember that most of what people are calling festivals are just copycat money-making ventures, really. They're just like, let's take the Rhythm and Vines model and take a slice of that and do that thing. And it's not a matter of disrespect, by the way. That's just an observation.
Yeah, I didn't want to say this before because I didn't want to go into too much sort of negative territory, but someone who worked on a particularly big festival, and I've shared this anecdote on the podcast before, I can't remember who with, told me, because he was in the inner core of the planning group for that festival, and he basically said that over the 4 days or whatever it was, their economic model was so finely tuned, he described it as, we'd figured out how to turn every kid upside down and shake every last coin out of their pocket. Yeah. That's actually what he said.
Yeah, wow.
You know?
Yeah, no, fuck that.
It's like, wow. But I think he said it without, it was sort of like when you talked about, how long can people be on site from the point of view of health and safety and happiness and all of that. I think part of that, what he was saying was, we worked out the period of time where no one ends up in serious harm, but they're not long enough to actually, do that metaphor. I'll always remember that line. I thought, man, that's ruthless.
Yeah.
Yes. So where do your people come from? I looked on Facebook and it's like, everywhere. This is what I'm interested about, is like, you've got this low key, but it looks like very kind of dedicated following. Well, it's word of mouth, or
a bit of both, a bit of everything. Like it's very very careful marketing.
Also different ages, Yeah,
it's very specific. Like when Travis and I started Velvet years ago, I don't know if you know about the Velvet brand. It's still going now, but it was the biggest house brand that was around for a moment. Yeah, and beautiful, very very famous little brand. And same deal. We chose a particular market at that time. We went, okay, we created the R22 thing, which has now been copied around the place. But we started saying, right, we want to get a slightly older audience, so we get a slightly different mannerisms, so since right back then, I've learned how to select markets and to build a market in particular. Now with the new model, with the on model, we didn't want to make it exclusive. But there again, we also did want to open the doors and make it like so every 18-year-old comes pouring through the place, and we've got to actually fucking babysit the bastards. Yeah. Also, a lot of us are parents now. Yeah, there's children.
You got kids?
Yeah. I've got two children. Got two children, and my partner and my wife actually got married at the last.
You got married at the festival, didn't you? Yeah. I've done my work.
Yeah, nice. We have children, and our friends have got children. So how can we get together and do something together that the children can be part of? What I mean? And as far as the audience is concerned, it's about as wide as it gets. We've got such a beautiful cross section of society, and it is deliberately targeted. And I mean, it's not a particular financial demographic or anything like that, and it's very much, though, appealing to people that are looking for something that actually talks to their heart.
But where did you find them? Just through the messages you put out?
Just talking, communication. It's about talking. It's what I said, the whole basis of what we do, or what I've always done, is about communication.
Talking to who? Where? Everyone's talking people, on social media.
Right now, I'm talking to you, and right now this is going to go to your students and other people. And they're going to go...
My listeners, I don't know about my students. They're at that age where they, we're talking about 18 to 20. They don't want to listen to a podcast their teacher hosts. Well, but it's funny you say that, because I was saying with that age, and we've all been there, and we were all different people when we were there, but that particular kind of, and I get why that age do it, that kind of go to let's go till you pop, that's great. But a weird energy for everyone else at a gig, arguably. Yeah. So I noticed with you, with the family thing, like I think when you introduce younger kids, that changes the energy a lot. I'm assuming that was intentional, because you're actually like you are a family festival, right?
Well, this is it. I mean, I like a challenge.
Which, to Explore's credit, they do as well. There's young people there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. It's Explore. I mean, what Amanda started and what.
But New Year's and children's unusual for a festival.
Yeah. I mean, I like a challenge. Like with Velvet. I mean, I write back one of the things that was challenged to me. People said, you can't have 2,000 people and it still be intimate, and I'm like, you just sit right there and watch. And we did, and we could do that. And with this one, it's just like, you can't have children at a party and still have some fun. And so you just, yes you can.
So what do you do? How do you do that?
Well, what we find is by
you just have a big pen in the corner with children in it, don't you?
No, they own it. They own it. It's actually they're everywhere, and there's certain little rules in place. But what happens is people behave differently when there's kids around.
That's what I was meaning,
Yeah. They do. They sort of wind back a little bit and they take on a little bit of responsibility.
Yeah.
And also, by the same measure, we've got a lot of elders there, you know. I mean, well, we're elders now, for God's sake. I mean, I'm 50 plus, you know.
Yeah.
And then we have the older elders. We don't charge people over 65 to come to on.
Correct.
At all. Just come along.
Where do they come from? The local area or?
Oh, just anywhere all over the place, you know. And what we find is then, so we've got those two sets of people, the older and the younger.
Ravers.
So the middle bit, the younger crew, the 18 to 28-year-olds, are naturally already feeling a bit safer and a bit freer to be who they are. And it's quite so funny watching young people come in, and we have got a large chunk of that audience. But you see people come in, like the young boys come in, like first day, they might have their shoulders back a little bit. No, I'm not sure.
Like little 12-year-old.
Waiting for a fight, you know, because that's what normally happens in this country. And it's like, on the next day, they've got a bloody hula hoop on and a tutu, you know.
Well, I think we need to talk about the World Unicorn record then.
Yeah,
so
isn't it beautiful?
I watched the World Unicorn record, and it involves one donning a unicorn horn. Was there a previous World Unicorn record before you guys broke it, or is that a new record?
250 people was the first one.
Do you remember where that one was? Somewhere overseas?
It's in the States somewhere.
And how many did you get to?
678.
Okay, and you're going to keep trying to beat it every year?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for them to pass a record back, because since the COVID thing,
Guinness certified, right?
Yeah. No, I'm just waiting for it to come back so I can actually keep pushing it and develop let's get a competition going, because it's such a lovely thing.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that kid you mentioned. Once you've got a unicorn horn on your head, the game changes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so, but what is unicorn? What are unicorns to people? It's rainbows and light and love and loveliness, you know. And it's like, it's not sort of like, you know, get a unicorn on your head and like let's go mental.
So after the first festival, because I say I love the logistical end of it. It always fascinates me. Everyone I go to, you know, this thing it's like it's a pop-up world, and it goes, but there's all the elements we've talked about. You come out of the first New Year's one, like you said. I'm not saying you hadn't done a whole lot of gigs before, but you're on that scale now. You know, what did you learn moving forward? Like, what worked? What did you change for the next one? You know, how do you hone and improve?
Constantly improving. You know, how can we take care of people and how can we give them the best experience possible? Whilst also, you know, playing with our artistic interests, you know, like there's the ego side of it. It's just like, I'm pretty particular about how I do shows.
That's what I'm meaning, all of it. And I noticed that, and Rob spoke of it, like, and I noticed it in the videos, like you appear to program all the visual elements to the music elements.
Yeah, no, we're quite different. Like how we build stages, but it's always been that way with us. You know, like right back to the Velvet thing, like I'm pretty particular about it.
But do you get to the point where you go, like, because you're most, I guess the most broad way to explain the kind of performers you get that people know is kind of Cirque du Soleil style stuff. Do you get to the point where you go, I'll bring those guys out when that act plays? Like, do you match stuff to that?
Absolutely. No, so like I said, it's over years. I mean, like, it's about building towards a fully balanced, cohesive show, and but each year we've got to consider, like, okay, what brings in money? First of all, like, performance is a really good one to discuss. Like, each year I'm putting a little bit more into the live performers, as in the acrobats and the circus people. Now, that's not what people traditionally buy tickets for.
No.
So first we go right back. What do people buy tickets for now? Unfortunately, New Zealand sort of got in the last 20 years.
Heavily branded around acts. Music acts.
This act and that act. It's all about internationals. Now, I've never done that. I've never done that.
I think COVID's been kind of a blessing in that regard with the way we've gone this year. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what it does, you know, for the rest of them. But I know I've done the same thing the whole time, which is support New Zealand music. That is what I think I enjoy. And again, I've got so many friends. I've been in this since the beginning. I know all the best, you know, who've been around one way or another. Yeah,
and before you go on, I'll say I noticed that too straight away. Totally is like you're not even trying to build like big name New Zealanders between 6 p.m. and 2 a.m. You know, I could tell that you sit there and you know who you're booking because you had such a range of spotted that as well.
Thank you. And so I'm very considerate of that, and just getting the balance, you know, like first of all creating something that people would be attracted to come to that is not based on a particular act or something. I do gigs like that occasionally, don't get me wrong, but it's not my core business. And then sort of getting to a point where I can continue to sustain and to contribute to other art aspects or other art types. which aren't traditionally why people buy money to spend
Oh, that
money
makes
to
so
come
much
to
sense.
it.
We come full circle. So you push down the big name music acts, you promote the event as a whole experience, and it actually is in your interests not to have kind of big ego headliners every night, because it balances out everything that you're providing.
It's changing the whole purpose of what we do. So we come together to meet and to communicate and to share.
Once, what was the festival called? Might have been La-di-da. Yep. Remember that when it was down near Wellington?
Yep.
And I was commissioned by, doesn't matter how I got the gig, but an alcohol brand wanted a circus stage.
Yeah.
They basically just were going to they just had naming rights to the stage. So I had to program a bunch of a variety of, quote unquote circus performers. Yeah. And I got there. But, the pool that I was initially given through talking to old friends and stuff seemed nowhere near the size and range of performers that you've got. Where the fuck are all these circus performers in New Zealand? Like, where have you found all these people?
Nowhere near alcohol brands would be a good start. Straight up. As soon as you said that, I just went, well, there's half the problem.
No one said no because of what it was. I don't think I even mentioned that to people.
Yeah.
So that aside,
where are they? They're around. The cirque performers are actually a very, very important and beautiful part of entertainment internationally.
Totally.
Right back.
But I'm saying that there's not traditionally a whole lot of gigs for them in New Zealand.
That's because of that mentality of the big DJs who you pay, and then you don't care about other things such as production. I mean, you've noticed that in the last 6 or 7 years that more events are starting to become creative with their stage designs and stuff, right? Now, that was the case 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Then it just stopped.
Yeah, the gatherings were like that.
And now it started again.
Yeah.
And it's because people are just like only doing it because they feel they have to compete with other people that are doing it. Whereas, at the end of the day, that cash model you're talking about shaking the money out of the children, that is all about, how does paying for a performer who really does deserve to be paid equally as well, if not more, than a DJ, despite what the DJ may think. And how does paying for additional people that do not have any additional income value?
You just made me realise it's an oversimplification, but that other model, like production-wise and approach-wise, is actually like a stadium rock show, but over 3 days. Like the way that's done. Yeah, part of it. It's also about hey, let's do some art, kids. Let's do some art. Let's do some art that is considerate. Yeah.
Let's do some art that makes people feel nice. And let's do some art that actually gives as many opportunities as we can possibly muster to show gratitude to those wonderful and incredible artists around us. And try not to go broke and die at the same time.
Because I actually saw, when I was looking around online, I saw that you I don't know if you want to talk about this, I can edit this out if you want, but you did run into financial problems a few years ago, eh?
Oh, yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's great, man, because I didn't know whether... You, sorry?
150 grand in debt, bro.
Wow.
No, but it's not unusual. This is something that one of the only things that sort of helped me to sort of go, okay, this is not as the end of the world, was actually when we get to that place, actually talking around, people within the industry that really know their shit, not people that think they do, but people that are steeped in and been working in this area for a long time, that have put on big festivals. It's entirely normal. Every single one of them have gone through it. Every single one of them. I mean, Rhythm and Vines are still going through it, for God's sake. So they're not now, I suppose, since Live Nation brought it all out. But last year, the very similar thing. He had some things and stuff went down with.
But then, how do you keep going if you like it happens and there's creditors and so on and so forth? Like, do you rely on another one doing well down the track and
well, that's the logical side of doing it. Yeah. I mean, it generally involves at that point some investment. And again, it's normal. Well, like I said, just ask pretty much anybody. There's an investor somewhere, and we had an investor come in.
Great.
And not that it made us any money. If it didn't even quite cover what we owed, to be honest. But we did when.
Did you pay all your smaller suppliers and performers and all of that?
Paid every single person.
great.
I've never not paid anybody. And it's,
so the debt's to things
years.
like tax departments and stuff like that. Like, where do you get it? Where's that? What sort of is that?
It's all we are legitimate as it comes, mate.
No. That's not what I'm meaning.
Yeah.
Like, if you get to that, you said you got into that sort of debt, but like, where's the debt if you've paid everyone? That doesn't make sense.
Oh no,
Suddenly the conversation
got to that debt.
Yeah.
I hit to that point, and then a solution appeared, and we paid our debt. Yeah. No.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
Suddenly, like, is this guy a tax department guy pretending to do a podcast?
Yeah.
You go look at it. It's all very legitimate, mate.
Yeah. Well, no, I always have. See, I've never run an underground party. And
it was just funny. It was an awkward moment, folks.
Yeah. No, it's definitely one of those things. I mean, we were. I thought my heart was broken, bro. Like,
I'm sure.
I thought it was like the dream was over. I was literally heartbroken, and I was a mess. And then it was like the wave ended, and I crashed onto the shore and stood up and carried on with my bloody life, and here we are now. And
how do you do that? So let's forget something like, because this is another thing I've noticed with festivals, and I've worked on them, bro, but nothing to the level of someone who plans them, and it's a year-round thing. But anyone who's even done something like a stage management gig or any role on a festival over a period of days, it involves probably a few hours sleep there. It's a high level of like staying organised and on top of things. It's a. You spoke of this before. It's a burnout potential game wherever you are in it. So
marathon. How
do you do that? Like throughout the year, do you have a period where you try and just not do anything to do with the gig or other gigs for a month or something?
I'm real good at taking time out for myself. You're talking
I'm basically saying, over 20 years, and I talked to Amanda about this as well. I don't know if you know, I had her on for an episode, but I basically said, how do you avoid, just not crashing and burning over the period of putting it on?
Well, I think for the first sort of period, shall we say, first, couple of decades, you don't plan avoiding it. You just deal with it and you get back up again, you dust yourself off and you carry on. Nowadays I'm getting older, I'm being a bit more deliberate about what I want to do and quite specific about I'm not interested in putting on a dance party for 5 minutes. Fuck that. I'm not interested. I know what I do. I'm not trying to be the biggest. I don't want to be like a big, massive, huge, 20,000.
Well, you don't want to be out at one every 5 minutes these days either.
I'm just not interested, I really like home, but I'm also really good at my own taking time out for myself. And also, you've got to remember that for me personally, this is my absolute working passion. Not my only passion, of course, but this is the only thing that interests me. Yeah. I've tried everything. I've got a really good CV, but I just don't give a shit about working for other people. I just don't.
What do they say? What's that? It's one of those great cliched quote, idiom, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life, or something like that.
You never stop fucking working.
So that's the answer to the question, you don't yet. So this New Year's event's wound down. I was teeing you up over the last couple of weeks. It's really lovely that straight away you're like, I'd love to come in or be an. I think you even said it would be an honour or something like that. But then you're like, still really busy with winding down and da-da-da. So how much, just to give an indication of what's involved in putting one on, how much more have you got to do to cap off the New Year's Eve that's just been, and when do you start working on the next New Year's Eve?
Well, there's an overlap. We're ready to launch the tickets for the new one. Basically next week when we're on honeymoon. But right now we're just finishing off payables, and we've just finished pretty much all the debriefs now, which then go into the next whatever directors meeting in a couple of weeks, and sit down and figure out what changes we're making and what have you. That's the very basic part of it. We're setting up a whole new project management system and creating what we're calling the Book of Om, actually, which is basically every single element of the gig in every single way, including personnel, timelines, resources, contractors, budgets, etc., of every single part of the event.
What's that for? You don't want that to leak out.
Well, no. This is for our own purpose.
Yes. So operations manual.
Yeah, but a very, 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 very detailed one. Yeah. And so we can share it with people for free.
Cool.
Yeah, no.
So for other people who want to do stuff.
Yeah, we share all our resources. Well, not all of them, but we share with a lot of festivals and events. And for example, the work we did for our resource consent, which cost us $45K. people ask, hey, can I have a look at that? And the answer is, well, of course, yes, you can, because, well, I've already paid for it.
Each one teach one.
Yeah, hard out. Share it, share the love.
Yeah, which is again, often these conversations go full circle, which is what a lot of what's missing in how people conduct themselves these days, Yeah.
Well, according to my ego only, of course. I mean, let's not forget that. This is just my version, bro.
No, but I hear it. I wouldn't say otherwise.
Yeah.
Talk about getting the Top Twins, man. What a great esoteric New Year's Eve booking.
Yeah, well,
but what a iconic New Zealand act.
The old dames. I mean, oh my God, it's like, we're not, this is it. We want to be able to showcase, our legends here and there where we can, just to say thank you, actually. And also, let's not forget that Jules actually lives about 400 metres up the road from the site. So that's, that we brought her in about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
To just come and have a look, And at the time for the following year, I couldn't offer them enough. Not that there was any, implied amount, but
Anyway,
But anyway, I thought, well, this year we'll give them a go, and they decided, they want to come check it out, and it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous.
I was thinking about it. They're, in a much more conservative New Zealand when they came on up. They've always been low key, quite sort of alternative and countercultural. So
I wouldn't say low key. I think they're right in your face, actually.
Oh yeah. No, but you know what I mean. Like back when you'd see a TV version of people. But So what I'm getting at is they stuck around, had a good time, enjoyed the party.
Oh, they had a great time. Yeah. I mean, look, the fact they got up there and they brought their 90-year-old mother up onto stage.
Well, they're not getting any younger either, are they?
Oh no, they're no spring chickens.
What did their mum do? Is she a musician?
She got up there and did some yodeling with them and
really?
grooved. Oh yeah, no, it was totally gorgeous.
Awesome. It was it looked like it was in late afternoon or
in the afternoon. Yeah. I'm not going to be putting. They were going to do the midnight countdown on the big trance stage for us, but unfortunately their mum got a bit.
Was it a yodel at the midnight?
It would have been whatever it would have been. It would have been utterly hilarious and brilliant and legendary. However, their mum needed to be looked after that night, and that didn't occur. But yeah, it's just about having some legends on there because I remember, and we all remember, is when we were younger, the Top Twins, and it's amazing actually. It was one of those risk-taking things when I'm booking a festival.
No, that's what I spotted straight away. I'm like, that's an interesting booking.
Everybody was just like, oh my God, this is amazing, the Top Twins,
Well, even people who I think there's when you get that sort of like style of act, or actually probably even more pointedly that level of talent, I think even some young cynical kid who's never heard of the Top Twins and like, who are these two old ladies getting up on the stage? Like, you're going to get into them because that's what great performers are about, right?
It's incredible. Like I said, it was one of those risk things, and the reality is people were just so happy to know that they're young kids and adult and old people. It was across the board. I mean, the funniest shit though was when I actually launched just the day before I was set to launch that the first release with them on it. Splore launched their first release. Yeah. I literally didn't know they were going to do this.
Yeah.
With the Top Twins headlining. I know, it was just like,
oh really? How bizarre.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Right.
I fell over laughing. I'm not sure how John felt about it. But
so the Top Twins are playing Explore?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting. You got married there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. How did that play out? So punters didn't know you. Are your crowd? Are your crowd? Your invites? Your invites? Yeah.
Yeah. No. We just we kept it pretty low key, and we.
Well, to be fair, the photos look like you're in the middle of the festival. It didn't look that low key.
Yeah. Well, no, it was at the back. It was up in that healing zone, and it was. We told people that needed to know, and we knew that we'd get out a bit. And we didn't organise much at all. I mean, that was the whole thing. I mean. We wanted it to be organic and natural and fun, and it was short and sweet and just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And we were so happy. It was such a beautiful day and beautiful experience. And I mean, Anna and I that's our baby,
Where'd you meet Anna?
Where did I meet Anna? Oh, here you go. The most romantic place you could possibly imagine. Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's hope for me yet.
Yeah. No, I had actually. It's a cool story. A friend of ours, Leanne, beautiful Leanne, found me apparently on Facebook and said to Anne, "You've got to say hi to this guy." And anyway, and so she did. And
oh my God, you had a Facebook blind date.
Yeah, mate, hard out. And then she came to Ink Bar actually, and came up to me and said, "Hello," introduced herself, and I said, "Oh, hi, Anna, I know exactly who you are."
Yeah.
And then the second time that I saw her, which was shortly after that, as soon as I saw her, I was just like, "Oh, shit, it's you." As in, that's the woman I'm spending the rest of my life with.
Yeah.
Not even not like, "Oh my God, I'm so in love with you," or anything. Nothing like that.
No.
Absolute,
I've heard,
like just like, "Oh, you're that one." Oh shit.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah.
No, I do.
Oh, then there's no grey area there, is there? When one of those happens.
Nope. No. And I'll tell you what, I'm a lucky man. Yeah.
And that's lovely. That's really lovely, man. Yeah. And so she have the background in what you were doing, or you've kind of
similar, sort of different thing. It's similar. So our paths have been similar in some respects, you know.
Yeah.
And she's a weapon. She's an absolute weapon of a human being. And
what's her role at the festival?
God of everything, I guess. You know, I mean, you ask. She's a site manager, but she heads up. We head up different areas, and I obviously roll most of it during the year because she also has a full-time job. But but so social responsibility is Anna's baby, and she needs to be given credit for that, and does an amazing job of making sure that we've got the most robust and balanced social responsibility aspect to our events as you could possibly imagine.
So have you've mentioned it's quite cool. You sort of dallied between kind of community and talking about ego. I think that's quite self-aware, and you have quite a vision of what you're going to put on. But then I think with that, if you are too insular about your grand plan, sometimes you forget to delegate. What have you learnt about delegating with people?
Letting go of stuff that you love. I mean, you're good. Right? Yeah. You know, it takes a long time to get to that point. That's what you call
delegating, letting go of stuff you love.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's just like, I love this so much, but I'm going to trust you to do a piece of it.
Because you look like the best person out of all of us to do that.
Well, after years of practice, yeah.
But does it take a while to, it takes a while to just give that, okay, I'll leave that person at arm's length and know that they... Yeah. I don't mean particularly you, but it's a real human thing, right?
It's really
because there's a lot riding on it,
Yeah, it's a lot hard. I mean, this is the thing, when Anna came into my life, that made that a little bit easier because it was immediately obvious that this person was equal, double equal actually. She's better than equal.
Yeah.
So having somebody who I can actually work with and grow with and share with and actually...
Trust
100%. You know what I mean?
We almost jinxed each other then.
Yeah. And now we've got another business partner, Steve, who's he's an industry legend. Like he's an actual legend.
Yeah.
In
what area?
Well, as in production.
Great.
Or in what's the word I'm looking for? Technical directing.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. He's the man.
Yeah, I always find all the AV crew, the tech crew, the people that also have no desire to be kind of above the line or on stage. Man, they're a unique breed, and the good ones are just so invaluable.
Yeah, well, the whole thing happens.
It's all held together by them, man.
It's all behind the scenes, you know, And this is, we've got a weaponized top end, you know, like the leadership aspect of our team is solid. It's so solid, and so trickling down from there, being able to delegate and find the right people is much easier, you know. But it was definitely a dream come true when Anna came into my life, and I've got this partner who can actually not just tolerate what I do, but actually be a part of it and actually drive and take some of it and own it. And it's that was a dream come true. And then we've got Steve's come in as well. And it's just like I've just won bloody lotto, mate. Straight up, you know. This is my dream.
What is it at other gigs that you kind of steer away from?
Turning children upside down and shaking their money out of their pockets would be the first one. Basically,
I knew you'd be quite taken by that.
Yeah, no,
I swear to God. What a quote.
I'm always real cautious. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not to cast aspersions on anybody. I'm not. I don't say negative things about people.
I know about people.
I just do the shit my way, and that's the way it is. But certainly that's it. I mean, this is a social thing. This is a social responsibility thing. This is not what we do. Is not just ego based. I want to do this for a job because it makes me feel good, and I can be the man about town. I have loads of coin. Don't get me wrong. I want to make money out of it so that we can be rewarded for our work. And so
the people around you can be as well,
and
right?
everybody involved can have a little piece. You know what I mean? So
everyone gets to have a turn, as DLT said to me when I talked to him on the show.
Yeah,
which I really liked.
So I'm not, it's nothing like looking at other events and stuff. It's like, well, there's certainly things that we don't want to do, but it's really less about that and more about what we do want to do.
Yeah.
Which is to have this beautiful, sustainable, safe, friendly, fun environment. But look, it's just art. It's just us doing art our way.
A bit of Andy Warhol there.
Yeah.
Just fucking art, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. You don't understand art. Excuse me.
And this is a bit of a sort of like kind of cliche question, but I think it's a good one because I asked Amanda as well, because what it's about amongst all the busyness and the running around and the stress, but also the I pulled that off. That's magical.
Yeah.
What are some of the magical moments you remember? Like, what's a few that particularly spring to mind over the years?
Well, there's so many magical moments.
Yes,
but
it's like favourite children, they say.
Yeah, but some of my favourite bits, the things that I speak about the most, are young women coming up and going, "Oh my God, I could have fun and I'm safe." Young men coming up saying, "Oh my God, I can have fun and be myself and not have to be aggressive and worry about being violent." Mothers and fathers coming up to me, "Oh my God, I had the best time and my children were safe." That, before anything else, I mean, I know about my production, I know about what I do. I've never had a shit gig, and as I know all about that stuff, and there's different moments, but that to me, that is what it's all about. That is the people coming and just going, "Wow, what this experience which you provided had an effect on my life, which is profound."
Yeah.
And I stay away from, people say, "Oh, you changed my life." I say, "Well, I didn't change your life, honey. Like, you changed your own life." But
I was also more meaning like, something that we lit it up purple, and then this other thing flew over, and then 3 performers came out, and I was like, I can't believe we pulled that off.
Oh yeah, but no. So that kind of stuff. I mean, I look at every time my show starts, I cry. Straight up, like when the energy, when you know that it's like it's on now and it goes, and I walk away and I just quietly and I go and watch, and I can't help it. I have tears coming down my face, because it's so overwhelming. The energy is so beautiful to see the thing just kick off and to run, and at that point I'm not focusing on the show aspect of it. I'm focusing on the community and how it feels and the people within it that are building it and everything like that. I'm in the middle.
You must, because you play a set there, right? That must be a really important part for you, because I imagine you get to switch off a bunch of stuff for that period of time.
Yeah.
But also embrace a bunch of stuff that you've built throughout those few days.
I love to play.
When do you put yourself on?
I played the closing set on the Stag, on the main stage, and that's not because I put myself on, and this can be fully qualified, because otherwise they sound like you egotistical prick. But actually, no, I was told by many, many people, one particular year, so no, for a specific reason, you have to close the stage. It's your job to close the festival, if you like. And so that's what I do. I also sometimes play another set, But you find it, like I was saying, a great kind of like nice respite and a little treat over the days of. Oh, I love having a jam.
Yeah.
No, it's a release. It's definitely a bit of a release, and playing always is,
Yeah.
As far as like particular moments that stand out, like really what stand out. Okay, the first one when we actually dealt with a cyclone that literally wiped out the place. That's a standout thing where everybody got out safe and happy.
Helped each other.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And the show side of things. I mean, we just get bigger and better and flashier each time, and we, I'm proud of things like the sound quality at our gigs is phenomenal. I can't instantly. I can't
That's
look
fine.
at it and go, yeah.
I feel like I wasn't asking this of guests for a while because it was too close to the bone a few months ago. But upon reflection, how did you find last year and lockdown and
beautiful
2020? You liked it?
I had an amazing year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
Oh well, the
you know,
lockdown.
obviously not the global flu, but
oh no! But I was locked down with two people I love.
Great.
So
who was the
very
second
much.
one?
Our son.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And well, my stepson, but same thing. And it was just beautiful. And because I looked around and we were like, right, we're fine. We're certainly not rich, but we're well sustained. And if it goes,
that's one of the first things I thought when I got a bit neurotic. Is like, man, I'm so much better off than a lot of people are.
And I started to get upset about the business.
I'm not going to war. I'm not going to the trenches. I'm being asked to sit on the couch and watch Netflix more often than I normally would.
Drink Patron, and I'm literally like watching the world turn to shit. And I'm like, well, and I thought, what about the business? And like, I'm concerned, and am I going to lose the business? And do you know what conclusion I came to, Lewis? Was like, I just like, okay, I don't care. It's fine. And what are you whinging about? I've got actually nothing. It's not affecting me yet anyway.
Yeah.
I had to postpone a couple of gigs.
Yeah.
Every single event we ran last year was successful. I did another gig. It was financially successful. It was successful in any other way. Yeah.
I thought about that too. Like, and I spoke to another guest about it. Like, I was lucky that periods of my life haven't all been roses, and for it's like I was. It hit in a good year for me.
Yeah.
There's been times where I would have been in a flat with people that weren't quite ideal. There's times where I was earning like pretty much near minimum wage. We're living week by week. Like if it was going to happen, like I say, I had to go. This is a lucky year for Lewis for this to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just very
count your blessings.
Yeah, I found it very. Real counting blessings. A lot of gratitude last year, and very much. I mean, I live in gratitude anyway. That's just kind of how I live. But last year, no, that's the answer to that question. As much as that sounds dismissive potentially of the difficulties and hardships that other people are dealing with, I didn't have none of that shit, and I had a beautiful year. Challenging certainly, but it's just platformed us into what was the end of the year our festival, which was phenomenal.
Well, I thought about that too. Like, the reason I haven't been is I haven't been to a New Year's festival for probably nearly 10 years, except for the couple I've worked on. But I thought about that, like, whatever the festivals were this year, over that period, I'd imagine that people were particularly up for it because of that year.
Oh, hell yeah.
What an opportunity. And also knowing how lucky we are here. It sounds a bit hackneyed, and everyone's saying it, but it's really true, man.
Oh, it's completely true. We're living in bloody paradise, man. And it's like, oh my God.
And we'll finish on up soon, but looking at those videos, I'm going to go to your New Year's party next year.
Yeah, please.
I'm serious, bro. Like, it kind of reminded me of The Gathering, but kind of like, for this era. And I thought I'd close with, because I don't think you quite realise how much of a Muppet fan I am.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite Muppet?
That's a really good question.
That's hard to answer too.
It has been traditionally, it's been Animal, actually.
Yeah.
But there again, I think, well, actually, I really like kind of Gonzo as well.
Yeah.
But traditionally it was always Animal because, well, I guess that's just the easiest character to identify with.
Yeah. I think your role sees you as a bit of a Kermit, maybe not personality-wise, but in what you're trying to do.
Well, yeah, absolutely, straight up, but I don't really I'm not really a Kermit, but I don't know, I'm a bit of all of them. But yeah.
Hey, nice to finally meet you, and we better get you on out of here because the parking building next door is $7,000 an hour.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm used to being broke. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.